there's a delusion that exists a little bit with Kenya. And I feel like it hit its peak when she decided to do the revenge porn and shaming Britt Eady, because I think Kenya truly thought she was untouchable.
Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Bravo, We're Black. And today we literally have our Black Excellence Award sitting right in front of you. If you are watching it on YouTube or if you are listening on Spotify or Apple, shout out to you guys for listening. But I am Kaya. I am here with the iconic Rachel Lindsay. I know her as the first Black Bachelorette, and then ever since then, I've been stalking her all along because I've been waiting to ask her about so many different things. But her podcast, Higher Learning, is coming on twice a week. She talks about all these great things. It's pop culture, it's politics with Lathan. You can find it on wherever you're listening to this on, so make sure you listen to that. Welcome, Rachel Lindsay, to Bravo, We're Black. I am so glad to have you.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm so happy to be here, Kaya. I'm happy to support. I'm happy to talk all things Bravo, whatever. If you've been following, you can ask me anything. So let's go. Let's have a good time.
I am so happy to have you here. Okay. So the first thing that we do on our pop culture episodes, even though this is going to be heavily Bravo, this is a pop culture episode, so we give out Black Excellence Awards. My Black Excellence Award goes to you for being here, for being, steady in our community as a Black woman, also having so much to say when there's so many people against you, so many people for you, and in between. Also, for that picture that you posted, that carousel of you at Coachella looking thick. So you are the Black Excellence Award for this week. But who would you like to give your Black Excellence Award to?
Well, thank you for that, for giving me the award. I receive it. I appreciate it. I am going to give my award to Jasmine Goode. So Jasmine was on The Bachelor with me. We were on Nick's season together. And now she is on my favorite show on Bravo. Season 2 premieres the 15th
Tonight?
This week. And tonight. Sorry, I just didn't know when it would air. It performs on the 15th, premieres on the 15th. And Jasmine, she's the only Black person on that show holding it down. And I know how tough that can be. And I'm excited because I think you're going to get to see more of her. Well, I know you're going to get to see more of her this season. So I know what it is to be the only one in the midst. So my award goes to Jasmine. And I'm excited for her.
Shout out to Jasmine Goode, and maybe I will have her on the podcast because I did not watch season 1 of The Valley because I just did not like the fact that. Let me tell you why. And I'm gonna watch season 2 because a lot of people have gotten on me because they said it's good because I am Vanderpump Rules down. Okay, so since season 3, but I did not like the fact that, Kristen and Jax got a whole show when they were fired in 2020 for basically terrible behavior. They tried to get the girl put, in jail with Stassi. So I was just like, I don't really like this. I don't understand why they get deplatformed, and then another platform with the end of the show is now bigger because Vanderpump Rules is over. All these divorces is going on. Somebody is hunching on Quentin Tarantino. I don't know who. Like, there is a lot going on with The Valley. But since it is season 2 coming up, some time has passed. I've asked my listeners what they think about it, and they said, yes, you should watch this show because Jasmine is on it, 1, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to help the Black girl out automatically. But 2, they're like, listen, if you've been invested in Vanderpump Rules, you need to watch the show. But there's also new people on that you get to hate, love, and in between. So you are a fan of The Valley, which if you're listening to this right now, it is Wednesday. So it came on last night. The premiere is sitting in my inbox, so I might watch it a little bit before it come on. I got a little screener, But I want to know, what do you think, like if a 60-second elevator pitch on why any Bravo fan should watch The Valley?
Okay. So it's hard not to piggyback on what you were saying before because I totally agree with you with Kristen and Jax. But I have to be fair with redemption. Enough time has passed, but it's not even about redemption. These are two people who are meant to be on reality TV. And this goes in my pitch. The top 3 Bravo people, or in this world, that need to be on TV. Tom Sandoval, love him or hate him, he's good reality TV. Jax Taylor and Kristen Doty. They are, all 3 of them are a hot mess and they're liars. And I'm sorry, that is great for reality TV. So why would I not welcome the opportunity for these people to come back on my screen and be the hot mess that they are? It's not like they're getting any type of redemption in character. Maybe Kristen this season, it looks like. But the 3 of these people, I want to be entertained. That's what I want to be. The Valley, I was very against it when it first came out. I said, I don't have time for new friends. My plate is full. However, it's what Housewives used to be. Housewives used to be couples,
Yep.
you know, and when you have different couples, it adds different dynamics. You have the couples hanging out, you have the women hanging out, you have the men hanging out, then everybody's together. That's what you get. People are in long-term relationships. They're just starting their relationships. There are people who hate each other in their relationships, love each other. There are pregnancies, there's separations. There's just so many dynamics and so many different stories and they're all coming together in the Valley, which I live, which is also very exciting. And for that, I say you have to watch it. It is reminiscent of the Bravo we grew to love.
Oh my goodness. That is literally the perfect elevator pitch, because anytime you mention Real Housewives, you automatically got my attention. But the dynamics, the crew dynamics, of course, and then also you can't help but scroll and see either clips from the show or the news. Obviously, Brittany has left Jax. Jax crashed out.
Yeah.
There's this guy on there from he was on iCarly. I'm like, wait. You're the guy.
Oh, Danny, yeah.
Yeah, he seems really nice. And then there is some girl who allegedly dated Quentin Tarantino or something like that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm missing out. And because, time has gone by, I'm okay with watching it, especially since you just said that it's not about a redemption arc necessarily. It's just about an entertaining mess. And I will say that I like the way that Kristen handled it more so than Stassi. I would not be watching Vanderpump Villa with Stassi. I don't think that they needed it. I thought it was a good show by itself, or even if it wasn't a good show, Stassi adds nothing to it. That was the one that was just like a total non-starter for me. But Kristen, she apologized, and I feel like she was punished long enough. Whereas Stassi, she apologized, went on Tamron Hall's show, complained about being on Tamron Hall's show, and then just moved her podcast to Patreon. So I feel like, did you really learn anything? No. These people actually had to take a step away from entertainment and the TV for a while. So that is a great pitch, and I'm going to allow myself to catch up. And I also want to talk about it with the Bravo fans, because the way that y'all describe this show, y'all are saying every single episode something new is going on. Yes. And I love that. And I'm going to be watching for Jasmine, because Jasmine is also newly engaged, I believe.
Yep.
So I can't wait to see that. So shout out to Jasmine, and shout out to you for the Black Excellence Award. Okay. I don't know if we want to start with the heavy stuff or the light stuff or in between.
Yeah, it's up to you. Wherever you go, I'll follow.
Have you seen the latest episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Yes. I actually just finished it right before I came on, just in case you asked me.
Exactly. Let's get into that. This is the episode after the Kenya Moore salon opening, where she went to hell, but I feel like it was a retaliation.
Yeah.
And then we also got a Watch What Happens Live episode with Britt Eady right after it. But this episode deals with the fallout of what happened. I'm putting together what was happening in real time on social media and what we're seeing on the show. I'm looking at how everyone is reacting to not only Kenya, but also Britt, how Britt is reacting to other people. And I just don't know how to feel about this girl. Of course, I don't think that the revenge porn was okay, obviously. But I also just, she's rubbing me the wrong way. How do you feel about this whole situation with Kenya first, and then with Britt, and then also just Britt as a new housewife?
Yeah. So you took some of the words out of my mouth in the way that you described Britt. Now I'm coming on here as someone who's not obsessed with Kenya Moore. I have never understood the Kenya Moore obsession. Can't deny she's been great for Real Housewives of Atlanta. She's been entertaining. She's given us some of the most iconic lines. But she's always rubbed me a bit of the wrong way because she's so, her ego's so big. And that's off-putting to me. I don't like cocky people. I like confident people. I don't like cocky. And so sometimes it's been hard for me over the years to watch Kenya because I feel like she's drinking her own Kool-Aid. I feel like she has totally drowned herself in the love that the fans give her. And it's a little much for me at times. As opposed to Portia, who I feel is confident but not cocky. There's a delusion that exists a little bit with Kenya, and I feel like it hit its peak when she decided to do the revenge porn and shaming Britt Eady, because I think Kenya truly thought she was untouchable. I think she thought Nene Leakes is gone, some of the other OGs, I'm the one who's carrying the show. I've left, I've come back, and I think she thought she was untouchable. And she learned that that wasn't the case. And that also leads me to believe that her ego is too big. With Britt, I say you took the words out of my mouth because she rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is. There's something about her I don't believe. I felt like that prior to Kenya even, doing what she did to shame her. I was just like, there's something I just don't believe. It's with her relationship. It's like her background story. Something just doesn't add up. Like my senses are detecting that something's off. And then to watch her respond the way she did in the episode after, I understand her not trusting the women. I understand her feeling a little sensitive or maybe even a little defensive that the women have reached out to Kenya, but not to her, particularly for the newer women who don't know Kenya. Drew, Portia, Shamea, they know Kenya, so that makes sense. But the other ones don't. So I understand her being like, wow, I'm the one who's the victim in this, but you gonna check on the person who hurt me. But then I'm like, are we missing minutes? Like, she just goes from 0 to 100. She did it. We saw it with Kenya when she talked about the whips and the pistols. We see her do it with, what is Charles Oakley's
Angela?
name?
Yes.
Angela. We see her do it with Angela here. And it's like, what's happening? It just, things don't add up. Britt doesn't make sense to me. That's what I would say. She even looks different in every scene. It's like, wait, which one's Britt? Which one? She looks different in every scene. And I'm not saying she looks bad. I'm just saying she looks different.
She looks different.
Something is off. And the last thing I'll say is she's clearly a fan of the show. We have watched her, and I don't like it. I've said this multiple times. I do not like it. And I think Bravo really has its work cut out for them. It's hard pressed to not find someone who's a fan of the show. She has said Kenya's lines not once, but twice, talking about don't send for me. Then she said twirl on out. She kind of was doing a little bit of the Nene in this last episode with so nasty. She didn't say so rude, but she was like so nasty. So it's almost as if maybe I'm working this out in real time as I'm podcasting with you. She is behaving like she thinks a housewife is supposed to behave. And I'm wondering, who is the real Britt Eady?
Oh my God. Okay, I understand what you laid out perfectly was that you're not team twirl. So
No.
you not being on Team Twirl, like I have someone who is impartial, where you can see both sides of the story, where you can see obviously where Kenya went wrong, but you can also feel this new housewife out. I feel like the perfect addition, which is she's not really an addition because we've known her for years, and we'll get to that. The perfect addition this season is Mia as a full-time Shamea as a full-time
Okay.
housewife.
That's great.
Like, love her. I can't wait to get to that positive part. But Britt, yeah, not only is she a fan, I think that she's on the wrong show. Like, at first, when everyone kept saying, "Oh, this is giving Basketball Wives," like when this was before the show even aired, so that's why I was like very defensive about that. This is giving VH1, it's giving MTV, it's giving Basketball Wives, it's giving Love and Hip Hop, and I'm like, relax, like let's just watch the show. But Britt is giving Basketball Wives or Love and Hip Hop, whereas someone like Angela was among the newer girls that we haven't seen before. Angela is giving Housewives, and even Lil Kelly, like I call her Lil Kelly because she's so petite, and
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about her that I'm like, I think I can grow to like Kelly, but Britt, it's just like she also just talks about I don't want to say that she has like mean girl syndrome, but she's like one of those people who are like, I'm pretty, so people think that I'm a bitch, and no one gives me a chance. But
Yeah.
it's like, no, we're giving you a chance right now, and you are giving us your ass to kiss. No matter how much you electric slide at the end of the episode, I feel like you are, coming for people who you came for the big dog. You got bit. Obviously, she was wrong. Production sided with you, even though I feel like that they're I think they're going to bring back Kenya, and I feel like they should bring back Kenya. And also,
we disagree on that.
Oh, you don't think that Kenya should come back, but do you think that Britt should stay?
I have to see the rest. She should stay for now, but I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah,
how
for
she
now.
the rest of
But
the
I'm just
season.
saying, like in the future, like, do you think that she is Real Housewives of Atlanta material?
It's only been a few episodes, so I'm gonna reserve my thoughts on that.
Okay.
But Kenya, if she comes back too quickly, it's like the Phaedra. You got to give them more time. Otherwise, she'll think that she's unstoppable. Gotta have time to learn a lesson.
Okay, that's fair. I think that she should come back because I don't like what Britt did either. It's also just like there's a lot of stuff that's not adding up when it comes to. I don't want to debate, obviously, the revenge porn. I'm just like, with your insurance thing, Angela's trying to ask you about the insurance fraud, which I'm putting in air quotes, allegedly. And it's like a board that we didn't see that talks about her being an insurance fraud hoe. Also, and I'm looking online and I'm looking at people who have combed through with a fine tooth comb her business, and like her business is literally now a bunch of just like courses, and if you buy her course you you can't get a refund, and there's no reviews on it, there's no testimonies, we don't really know what she does now, if she's still in insurance. I don't know what the husband does. I don't know if the husband really wants to be there or not, or if he's drunk all the time. It's just a lot going on outside of what just happened. And I also wanted to, like, I still do feel bad for obviously when she talked about losing her father, like that's when she kind of like got me, like that's so sad. But then when she sat down and she talked to her sister, and her sister is basically talking about, hey, I kind of like need you as a sister, and she's like, well, you have me, but my man is calling. And I'm just like, this is kind of what your sister is talking about. It's just very weird to watch, and I felt so bad for her sister.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It doesn't add up with Britt, but I will say whatever she does for her career and the fact that we don't know, and that's a mystery, I like that characteristic of a housewife.
Ooh.
I like that it doesn't add up as far as like, what do you do? You know, it's like Brynn on New York. You know, Sai said to her, I don't know if you watch New York, but Brynn was like, what do you do? I don't know
I
what you
would
do.
just full.
That storyline. I like the speculation of how do you make your money? And what is it? Because I want to see your wealth, because I like to feel poor when I watch these shows. But I also like the storylines of, okay, you're wealthy, but how do you have your wealth? I always like that. But I
That's
mean, yeah,
fair.
that's totally on par. Her teaching courses and not really having a real estate license or insurance or whatever it is, I that all adds up to me. That
And
all
then
adds up.
it's also like, okay, she said in the newest episode, you guys, that she had everything wiped from the internet, and you know that she did webcam. But if you had it wiped from the internet, then how did this come about? It's just a lot of things that's going on.
She didn't have
That
the rights from the internet.
I mean,
Yeah,
is
she
anything
didn't have
ever
that.
wiped from the internet in the first
Yeah,
place? You know,
she didn't
it's
have
a
that.
lot going on. I just know that she dated Rick Ross, so that just says a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that she and Angela can get to a better place, because I hate that her and Kelly in real life apparently are not friends anymore. And I don't know if we'll see it on the show or what, but I felt like Kelly was a real ride or die. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when she left what, you know, happened at Kenyon's event. How do you feel about Kelly? And obviously, like, her having to have a bodyguard around is so scary. You know, the
Yeah,
conversation that she had with her oldest daughter, that
yeah,
she basically talked about her oldest daughter having to really bear the brunt of like the hurt and the pain from her divorce, and just her oldest daughter even being able to like talk about how she doesn't really feel like the dad is fighting for her too, just his kids. Like, that was just so heartbreaking. I think that Kelly is, even though at first I'm like, who is, I think that she's showing us like a good amount of like personal, and you know, she has her waffles, so that's what she does for business. And I don't know if she's dating anyone. I don't think that we saw that she was dating anyone, but I'm starting to like Kelly. What do you think about her?
yeah. Kelly definitely came in hot when she
Hmm.
came for Portia at the birthday party, and accused her of taking somebody else's man. But the more that we get to know Kelly, I feel like that was her trying to be a little funny, messy, funny, shady. And we didn't know enough about her to clock it. And obviously, neither did Portia. But I like that they sat down, they had a conversation. She seems like a lot of fun. She seems like she's very loyal, the way she was with Britt, with the Kenya situation, her
Yeah.
gathering, having like a whole brunch, a peace brunch to try to make Brittany feel comfortable back in the group. So I really like Kelly. And at the end of the day, too, this episode really did, to your point, show how she is as a mother. She's got 4 girls. She seems to really be involved in their lives and care about, their well-being and how they are with this whole tumultuous relationship she had with her ex. To sit down with her daughter was really heartbreaking. You can see that her daughter's hurting. All I could think of is an advocate for therapy. I'm like, gosh, I hope that daughter gets therapy, because at a young age, she's learning what it is to see a man throw you to the side with her mom and then with her. And
Right.
that's the only father she's ever known. I hated when Kelly came in hot also and gave the 17 purses. I was like, oh God, this is trying too hard. She's doing too much. This daughter doesn't have 17 places to go. I don't even, she kept those 17 purses. But since then, Kelly has really redeemed herself with me. And I enjoy watching her, and I'm curious about her, which is also something you want in a housewife.
And she's just also just so little. Like, if you see her on the screen and like everyone else, and these women are not like big women. I think
Yeah.
that Kenya was the tallest. Kenya was the tallest of all of them, and she's gone. I think Portia's maybe like 5'6", 5'7", and she's just so
She's
mini
like Lil
size.
Kim. She reminds me of Lil.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, in more ways than one. But okay, Angela. Let's get into her. How do you feel about Angela? I know that Portia made the funny like joke about how she says Charles's name like Miss Netta. I think that literally killed me. But I
Mm-hmm.
like seeing Angela being able to stir the pot, and she had the moment with her wig was like, it was very relatable. We saw her kind of interact with Charles, and also her import, like, she received Portia's apology because Portia claimed that she didn't really have an ET on Charles and she was just trying to be funny, which I don't know if I believe that, but I like the way that she interacts with the women and she's able to let things go, and she didn't take it from 0 to 100 compared to how Britt takes things. Like if you say one thing, she's like popping off, whereas Angela's like, I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to respond and then we can hash it out. How do you like Angela as a housewife?
Angela's giving Cynthia energy. She seems to be, yes, she came in hot when she was taken up for Drew with Shamea and they had their little moment. But to your point, she can let things go. She's very rational, very logical. She can move on. She seems older than most of the women in the group. So there's this maturity there. I've enjoyed seeing her talk to her daughter, hearing about the relationship with her mother and growing up with someone with mental health issues, the way she takes care of her mother. I think, she reminds me, she's giving me Cynthia energy, which you always need that type of housewife in the group.
On every franchise, you need a Cynthia.
Now for Charles is the typical, I don't know his age, but he gives boomer energy. He's like that man who never did work on himself, never did therapy, very sexist, very misogynistic, very like, this is my way, this is how it goes. And Angela's the type of person, because she also has her own business and her own money, and she seems to be very patient. A guy like Charles needs that. It just kind of rolls off her back. But Charles is difficult. I get he's a legend. I'm sure they have their good times, but every time he's on the screen, it's like such a downer. He's just so negative, so dismissive in ways to her, and I don't like that. But I like her.
Gives you the ick. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of housewives that I'm like, that husband can go, but you can say. I totally agree. You made several like great points. I think that she's a good fit too, because we're at this point, we're like 5 episodes in. 5 or 6 episodes in, I believe. So I'm forming my opinions about these ladies right now. So let's get to our, not OGs, because Shamea isn't an OG, but let's get to Shamea. Obviously, the audience is loving Shamea. I'm loving Shamea. You seem like you're loving Shamea. When you spoke about wealth, I didn't see any wealth with Britt. It's like, I'm seeing that with Shamea though. And when they asked her, like, what does her husband do? And she had a direct answer. Like, I like that. But if she was the one who was kind of like sketchy or whatever, I would have liked it. But I just don't like it on Britt, I guess. But like, just in general, Shamea, she can sing down. Her and Carrie Hilson were in a girl group. Her house is just grand. It's beautiful. I saw the tour online. And I also like that, even though she may be getting kind of, it seems like a little bit hazed by Portia, who's supposed to be her friend, she let it roll off her back. And she was like, listen, I know you can't film in your house, girl, no more. So like, let's figure out, let's go mini golfing. Let's go to the strip club. Let's, like, I'm going to help you out, and I'm not going to bring up anything that I feel like is on my chest, because we can get to that later. Right now, I'm just going to be like a friend to you. And I just think that she's so fun and to watch. What do you think about Shamea?
I agree with everything that you said. I always enjoyed Shamea before. When she would come on, she'd always bring the fun, and she was super lighthearted when she'd come on, and all the women like her. Even Candy, who's no longer with us.
Right.
Everybody likes Shamea. That's why it's interesting to me that she and Portia aren't that close right now. I really want to know why. But it's one of those things where we thought we knew Shamea, but we didn't, because we're learning so much about her struggles with fertility, her relationship with her husband, how they met, all the things that she has. When she used to come on the show before, she wasn't bragging about her wealth.
Right.
And not that she is now, but we get to see it more. Because she's a full-time housewife. But I think she's funny. She's talented. She seems to be very caring. She knows when to jump in and when to pull out. Like even in this last episode, she didn't jump into the argument with Britt and Angela or even Britt and Drew. She was just like, I need another drink. And could you pour a little bit more peace into it? I love that. Shamea is the perfect addition. And it almost was like it had to happen now. I think if she had jumped on any other season, she might have gotten lost in the sauce or, some of the OGs were there. I think bringing her on with this influx of new women really makes her stand out even more.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like, okay, so I'm gonna ask you a little shady question though. Sidora dropped an album and the album is good because we already know that Drew can sing. But we're seeing Shamea serve vocals and we're also seeing Drew serve vocals. Who do you think is the better singer out of Shamea and Drew?
That's tough because Drew does have a pretty voice. Drew's voice, when she first came on, I was like, oh, she's better than I thought she was. But Shamea does sound good. I'm gonna give it to Shamea. They both sound great, but Shamea sounds really good.
So like she can do the riffs and the oohs and the ahs, like the. And I'm just used to.
Remember that episode where they did the sing off, where it was
Candy?
I don't know. They were on some retreat, and it was old girl who was in black. I cannot think of her name, and Candy sang. And they all did that. They were like they had like a runway competition and they had the singing competition, the fashion on this retreat. I need that to happen again. Shamari. I need that to happen again. So, as Shamari hands down won it. I need that to happen again so I can determine who's the better singer between Drew and Shamea. And Portia sings a little bit too. So, that's why I think she's Shamea. Because Shamea has a better voice than Portia.
Okay, so do you think that that's where the shade comes from? Because I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, it did, to be fair, like I talked about this with my friend, it did sound like Drew at first when she played the song at the table on the last episode. But once your friend tells you, hey, that's me, can you please shut up so I can, like, have my song on the show? Weird. What was that even about? And then now they're not even really, like, close like that. So I'm just, what is this riff? What do you think this riff could be about?
I hope it's not jealousy because, 2 years ago, Portia was with the rich man and married and, was about to build this life with this man. And I mean, Shamea was married too. And she wasn't even on Housewives. She was doing her own thing. She got her own show, spinoff show, all of that. And now she's in this contentious divorce. Simon may or may not be here. Funds are frozen. She can't get them. Her daughter doesn't have the relationship with this man that she brought into her life. It's like her life is turned upside down. And I understand what that's like when you get a divorce. And then Shamea, she's obviously had her struggles too, but she's in this mansion. She's getting a Rolls Royce. She's the breakout star on this season. People love her. And so
I think it might be.
Maybe.
I think it might be.
That's the case because you want to see your friends win.
And I feel like they would be a great duo. Like, I was so ready for Portia and Kenya to be the duo. And obviously, freaking Frack is going to be back. But I'm just saying, like, they knew each other beforehand. Like, we know her as Portia's friend, as Candy's friend, So I just, but my heart also goes out to Portia because when she was talking about how Pilar asked about Simon and she's like, don't play with the babies. Like, you can have your shadiness and you can serve me with all these papers and telling me that I can't film in my own house. He was just, I'm not glad that he's in ICE custody, I don't want to say, but I'm just glad that he has to be quiet by force.
Right. Same.
Yeah. So, but it's just like, okay, all that aside, you married this woman and you have all these kids. She accepted your kids. And I'm sure that Portia would not deny a phone call from an innocent child. Like even if you just wanted to talk, just to cut her off like that and to be able to, talk to Shamea and congratulate Shamea for being on the show. I feel like that might have factored into it too. Like that's just so weird to me. I hate that. And I hate that that's happening to Portia, especially on her big splash back into the Housewives atmosphere.
I know. I really hope that they work it out. Cause yeah.
Okay, so lastly, before we move on, we have Miss Drew Sidora. Where do you land on, should she be filming with her baby daddy or should she not be filming with her baby daddy? Portia's baby daddy. Not
Portia did.
Drew's baby daddy. Yeah, not Ralph. Not Mr. Basement.
Um, I think that if you're really my friend and you don't want me to be filming with him, first off, there's no way I would have done it. Even if Portia had not responded back to me, there's no way I would have filmed without it. It's respect. Drew should know this, going through her own divorce with children involved. That's just not how you do it. But Drew's messy, and I don't believe a word that comes out of Drew's mouth. Drew and Ralph are the biggest liars. Like, I don't believe either one of them. When I see her getting upset, I'm like, I don't believe her. When I see Ralph, I'm like, I don't believe him. It's just, none of it makes sense to me, except for the fact that they lie.
Do we feel like they're really broken up?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. I really do.
And who do you think needed to pay that bill, the exterminator bill?
I don't know.
Because they tell you in court, like, the whole thing was that we have very pretentious court proceedings. So wouldn't that say X is responsible for Y and Y is responsible? Like,
yes. If the judge ruled on where you're staying, then you rule on the bills and support and all of that. Temporarily, at least. So I don't know. He says he pays all the bills. And if that's what court ordered for him, then he should be paying the exterminator bill, even if it is $50. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But I think they both poke at each other to get a rise. Right. Drew's always difficult for me to watch because I don't believe her. But this season, she seems to be really difficult. It's weird because she seems to be on the outside of this group with the women. She always comes late. And when she comes in, she doesn't really add anything. She's just there. And maybe because she wanted her whole storyline to be filming with Dennis. I don't know. I think it's just, to go back to your question, I think it's disrespectful that she's filming with Dennis. I think she should respect the fact that that's not what Portia wants. And if that's the only storyline that Drew has, then Drew shouldn't be a housewife.
Listen, it is what it is.
Give us Ralph. I was always entertained by that.
I was entertained by that. I'm still wondering where he was in Tampa because, baby, ain't nothing in Tampa but strip clubs.
Exactly. Talk about I don't know why Ralph came upstairs. He never does that normally. Ralph came because the cameras were there and he is giving the people what they want. Ralph better come upstairs. And
when they got to arguing, I was actually very entertained. Like, I want this more so than whatever you're doing with Dennis because that just gives me the ick.
Yes. And you know why she didn't like that he came upstairs? Because she already sat in the confessional and she was like, Ralph is banished to the basement. He's not allowed to come upstairs. Well, Ralph sure did walk up the stairs. And I said this on...
And you packing your bag.
I said this on my podcast. I'm like, there's no way that Ralph can't come upstairs. He might have to reside and sleep there, but there's no way that he's not allowed to be in the house. So I loved it because I was like, see, that's why she doesn't like it, because she already told us this isn't allowed.
And we're seeing the opposite. Like, girl, you're packing your suitcase, trying to figure out where you're going to go for the weekend. So I don't know. But I'm actually, this is the first time that I can say that I'm actually interested in what Drew is doing. I don't like the Dennis portion of it. And I like that Portia was like, you know what? I'm not going to keep bringing this up because this is going to give more camera time and rise. Like, I'm not going to give you that rise out of me. But I like seeing the Ralph of it all. I like seeing her get back into her music because that album actually did come out good, which I'm like, okay, so apparently Dennis is a music producer. It's just Atlanta is...
He had help.
Absolutely, with some legends. But Atlanta overall, like, are you all in on this season? What do you think of the reboot so far in general?
I like it. I'm always hesitant when we get new faces. I know I'm that difficult Bravo fan, but I'm enjoying. But I'll also ask for new people. I'll be like, we need a refresher. But this was a lot of new, Angela, Britt, Kelly, Portia came back
full time.
Shamea full time. So it was a lot new, but I'm really enjoying the dynamic. even for the people that I'm not as big of a fan of, I just like the storylines. I like where it's going. I'm very entertained. The women are funny. They're fun when they're together. So far, so good. It's definitely exceeded my expectations.
And I'm right there with you. So listen, if you are watching this Bravo and Bravo fans, we are all in on Atlanta and we want to see where this
Yeah.
goes. So I want y'all to give it a chance. Try to watch it live or at least watch it in the morning on Peacock. But I would say watch it live. Let's help contribute to the ratings and let's see where this goes. And obviously, let's see how it unfolds. But I like to mush in a little bit of promo in the middle of the episode.
Okay.
Obviously, you have your podcast, Higher Learning with Van Lathan. Can you tell me, like, how that came about? I mean, it's been a long time, obviously, but like, did you guys just sit down and were like, let's just do a podcast, or like, what was the process like? And
Yeah.
comparing it to when you first started to now, like, how has the journey been?
Yeah. So we were actually introduced by Bill Simmons, who owns The Ringer, which is the network we're under. And I had done some work with Bill on the reality TV side through Bachelor. Van had done some work with Bill under The Ringer and some of the other podcasts. And he just came to me one day and was like, do you want to do something that, is purposeful, meaningful, or that you're proud of? And I was kind of like, am I not? But he was right. I really wasn't. And he was like, I have an idea. I want you to meet this guy, Van Lathan, and I want to see if you guys have chemistry click, because I think you could bring something and fill a space in the podcast world that doesn't exist. Van and I met. It was instant chemistry. Bill, this is why Bill's so successful. He knows what he's doing. And from there, we created Higher Learning. It was supposed to start in March 2020, but COVID hit. So it started in May 2020, which was a huge month for Black people in this country with finding out the truth about Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. Then we watched George Floyd. It was also at that time that Hannah Brown had said the N-word. And so all these things were happening, and our podcast became a little heavier than we anticipated, being a response to the culture. And we would cry, we would laugh, we would be confused, we would work out our emotions in real time. And it just kind of became this safe space at the beginning for people to come to who didn't know what to do with how they were feeling. At that time, you turn on the TV and there were riots on every day, or protests, or. And so from then, we created an audience, a foundation, a community, which has just been so beautiful. You understand, when you create your own community, there's just nothing better. And I would say it's transitioned into a family.
It's so huge.
Van and I are like brother and sister. He's seen me go through life changes. I've seen him go through hardships as well and changes. We're having our first live show. We're 5 years in May. We've been doing this thing. And so I've just really just seen it grow, as a podcast that is a response to the culture, but also just a place to escape. We started off heavy and we've transitioned into having a big deal of the day, but then lightening it up as we go, because especially in these times, like, you need a little bit of both. We need some of the foolishness and the seriousness. So yeah, I'm really proud of what we.
I love you guys' chemistry. Like that's the part. It doesn't feel forced.
No,
and then I love that you guys can, openly go against each other when it comes to whatever the topic is, and then bring it back to it. And I love, obviously, it's Black everything. So like it's great, and it's just very relatable, because me and my partner Aaron, y'all are gonna hear from Aaron soon, but Aaron says hi.
Hi, okay. Aaron.
And also, I need to get a special shout out for our listener Vinny, because Vinny really loves you. So shout out to Vinny. I got Rachel Lindsay here for you, and you're gonna be the first. Hi, Vinny. But you guys remind me of me and Aaron, and we kind of started our podcast as a response to the George Floyd murder that we saw. And then also the fact that, like, I'm immunocompromised, so I had to stay home. No one cared about immunocompromised people. Aaron was staying home, so he was just like, turns out anyone can have a podcast. So like, let's just get on the mic. And then people were asking for it. And we built this audience of people who watch Bravo, but we're also watching White Lotus. We're watching other things. And it's just been such a good time. Okay, so I got on my Bravo We're Black merch. Do you have anything that we can buy physically? Or are you working with any? Yes, tell me about that.
Yes. So, going through a divorce and a public divorce and it being very messy, it's been hard to stay above it and to be not want to tell everything. And so in doing a lot of reflection last year, I was like, what are some things that I could do to kind of talk about the divorce in a positive way because it's so public and I know there are a lot of other people going through it and I must be going through this in a public way for a reason. And so one of the things I did, and I want to do more things surrounding this, but was create a jewelry line with Wove Made, the jewelry company. So you can go to Wove Made, MADE, WOVEMADE.com. And you can see the jewelry line that I curated with them. And it's called Resilience, obviously, because of what we go through, but it's really for everyone. Every piece is curated to symbolize power and strength and resilience. One of my favorite rings, I normally am wearing it. It's gold, 24 karat gold. I think it's 24 karat gold.
We're going to link it below, you guys, by the way.
Yes. Thank you. It's hammered in, and inside of it, it says bruised but not broken. So I want it similar to all tattoos on me. I get tattoos because I look at them and they're a reminder of encouragement. It's a symbol of something. I wanted the jewelry to be a piece of that. So that's one of my favorites because it's bruised. It's a hammered ring, but or hammered in, but the inside says, but you're not broken. And so that's a reminder of through a hard day or whenever you're going through a moment. And so you'll see different pieces like that. There's a necklace, there's a ring, there's 2 rings actually, and a necklace. So yeah, you guys check it out.
It is like beautifully and wonderfully made because you are, if nothing, resilient, honey. Like I have been following you since I saw you on my screen. Like to go from The Bachelor to, all that happening and then, moving on in your career and just growing and just take it licking and keep on kicking. I feel like that is very natural and a great name for that. So can I ask you a question? And it's not even going to be a question that you think it is, but can I please ask you a question that I've listened to your episodes, but I don't think that you answered this when I think I sent in this question to your podcast. You were on, and I feel like it's a fever dream, but no one is remembering this. Before it was help, I'm in a secret relationship. You were on your show called Ghosted, and they're like, no, that's not the same show. I'm like, this is literally the same show without Rachel Lindsay. And I love Ronnie, and I like Travis, but what happened with Ghosted?
Yeah, I loved Ghosted. I actually ran into Travis this weekend at Coachella. I screamed. I was like, ah! No bad blood with MTV. No bad blood with Travis. For me, I was approached to do that show for Travis and I to go to do that show as well. I think it was going to be called something different, but it's like a secret ship or something like that. But at the time, I was podcasting with Higher Learning. I was working for Extra. I was writing for Facebook. And I just didn't have the time. I was just like, I just can't do it. Now, had I known that I would get burnt out in other areas,
that show was just so fun. I was just
COVID killed the show. COVID killed it. It wasn't, it was such a good show and so relatable. And I loved it because I was ghosted before ghosted was a term. And funny enough, the guy who did it to me, I used to call him Casper. I was like, well, Casper. And now it's a thing. People ghost in friendship and relationships and business relationships and everything. And I just felt like the stories were endless. And I hated that let's start a thing to get it back. Because I know Travis would be down. I would be down to do it.
It was so good.
I loved it. I cried in every episode. I was so invested in these people's stories. Thank you for asking. I loved doing that show, but
we
over Zoom because of COVID, and they just didn't bring it back.
I just love that show so much. I'm like, listen, if I ever get the chance to ask her about Ghosted, she probably does not. It was such a small window, but every single episode, I'm like, this is better than Catfish. Like, why did they ghost this person? And you
I
guys
love
went
this
around,
too.
like, guys, the premise of the show, because I want to tell you guys about Help I'm in a Secret Relationship. I sometimes bring that up randomly because I'm watching that and I thread it sometimes because the reasons that people hide their significant others is crazy to me. But ghosted was basically it could be a family member or a best friend or whatever, but you guys got to the bottom of why someone was ghosted. And like the reasons were everything from serious to like the most unserious thing. And I'm just like, I love this. I don't even know what this genre is, but Caught in the Act, Help I'm in a Secret Relationship, and Catfish, and then it was Ghosted. Like, love that show. So if we can get it back, please, MTV, let's get it back with Rachel Lindsay and Travis, or Rachel Lindsay and me. But yeah, so perfect. The last thing that I want to touch on, obviously, is the reason that I messaged you in the first place. Southern charm and Vanita of it all. I know that how did this go? Like, you were watching it and you're like, what's going on here? Like, where are you at now that we've seen the season and the reunion play out? And do you care that Taylor is not coming back, most importantly?
Okay, I'll start with Taylor. No, I do not care that Taylor's not coming back. Taylor didn't bring us anything. We can't, she's in a relationship. She's not sharing it. Her moment, sadly, was linked to Shep. And the moment that was over for her, of course, some of the fallout afterwards and her learning the truth about the relationship was interesting, but she's tied to Shep. Shep's moved on. She's moved on. There's really nothing else to add. And I also got tired of the way they babied Taylor and made her seem like this perfect angel. So I don't think she should have been there this season. I'm not going to miss her. You know, she announced that she's got a new clothing line. I looked it up, athleisure line, and there are some cute pieces. So good for her, because it didn't seem like she was doing anything. And so I hope this is successful for her, because some of those pieces really are cute. As far as the Vanita of it all, the way they handled it, I think in the end, she's in a better light. But, you know, I started off saying, what the hell is Vanita doing? This looks super foolish. This is embarrassing for her. This is very goofy. And it wasn't because it was JT and I am not into JT. It was just more of how she was acting. And it's not fair, but when we're the only Black person on a show, I kind of hold you to a certain standard because you know what it is. And it's not fair, and it shouldn't be that case. You should be able to act the same way as your white counterparts. But sadly, that's not the hand you're dealt when you're Black in America. And so part of me was like, come on, girl, as the only representation on this show with all these white folks watching, you got to be better. And then when she came out, and I was critical of that. And then when she came out and she said, production, you know, switched the timeline and made it seem like she went in JT's room knowing he had a girlfriend, and that's not the case. I felt bad. And, you know, I take things for what they are. I don't watch things saying, well, production must have manipulated this. I just assume it's better. And so then I felt like, I assume they're doing the right thing. So then I was like, okay, well, I need to use my platform to speak out on Vanita, for Vanita, which I did, and call out the production company, Haymaker East, and how problematic it is, and how they played into certain stereotypes of Black women, and how she is the only Black representation. And this is how you want to dog her. This isn't fair. And Vanita did reach out, and she thanked me. And I was like, of course, like, this is how we're supposed to be with each other in this world. And I think people are starting to give Vanita a break, realize JT was feeling himself and playing both sides. He liked the fact that two women were after him. I do think he was attracted to Vanita. I don't think he was ever going to make her his girl. But I feel like Vanita held her own at the reunion. People believe her.
Receipts.
I did not like that she was like, yeah, I think me and JT can be cool.
Hated that so much.
I mean, she's being the bigger person, but it seems like they are not cool in real life.
But it was her saying that she wanted to date, like she wants to date him, or she could still, you know, like after all that's happened, after how not only production, you know, went in and did that, he showed his ass before the season even started by like basically ghosting her and having this new girlfriend, and knowing how it would play out on camera, and knowing that he has this girlfriend. And even when they're going back and forth on social media as the show is airing, it's just a
Mm-hmm.
weird situation all around. So I was just very disappointed in that, to say the least. But I think that not only you speaking out, me speaking out, and other people on social media speaking out, I think that the production company did get its feet kind of held to the fire, because that's so not only is it unfair, but it's like you didn't have to do anything to make her look worse than what she already does, because
Mm-hmm.
it was already playing out like, oh girl, you're down
Yeah.
bad.
It
Like it
already
was
looked
already
bad. You
that.
look very desperate.
And then now we also have like when Leva is on, like I'm like, okay, at least she has like Leva, but they don't show Leva. They only use her to introduce storylines, and then kind of like when she tries to speak up or says something, Craig or Austin, like they get upset and kind of like speak against Leva. And I'm like, these are the only people of color on the show. Y'all
Right.
just clearly don't want them there. Leva additionally has announced that she is leaving Southern Charm, but at least she has Southern Hospitality. Like, do you like Southern Hospitality, and do you see it like going kind of how Vanderpump Rules went?
Let's hope it doesn't end the same way as Vanderpump Rules. I don't watch. I watched the first season of Southern Hospitality. Um, my co-host on Morally Corrupt, the Bravo podcast I do on The Ringer, they are begging me to watch. So I'm
Yes.
trying to. I'm like the third episode in season 2, but I'm not connecting with these people. I don't know why. I'm not, and this is another thing towards the Valley. I think I like the Valley because they are my age. They're older. It's just hard for me to care about some of these storylines with the people that are so young. It's probably why I won't watch Next Gen NYC with the kids of the Bravo celebrities. I'm trying to get into Southern Hospitality. I'm slowly watching it.
Just watch it in
Slowly.
your spare time, because I promise you, like, I don't think that you'll end up relating to any of it, because you know we're older than them. But I don't know, like it's kind of like watching old Vanderpump Rules. Like the storylines are just so messy, and they actually work there, and we actually have people of different sexualities, and like we have Black people on the show, we have gay people on the show, we have people who are really out there trying to get it. So I would love for you to like finally get through season 2, and then there's only 3 seasons out, so you got this. You could get through it. I think you're gonna like
Well,
it.
if you can watch The Valley, I guess I can watch Southern Hospitality. How about that?
Look at us. Look at us. Look at how we came together at the end of this podcast. And I'm going to be watching The Valley, and she's going to be watching Southern Hospitality. Rachel, thank you so much for coming on this podcast. I have had such a good time. I know I kept you a little bit over. I'm so sorry, but we had a great time. I got all
We
your
did.
thoughts on Atlanta, and obviously, when I reached out to you, it was because I saw your post about Southern Charm. So shout out to Vanita, shout out to you, shout out to Van Lathan, shout out to The Ringer, shout out to the Morally Corrupt podcast. Everybody, everything is going to be linked below, so you guys can go buy you a piece of resilience, okay, and get resilient and run up the streams and literally leave 5-star reviews. Is there anything else that we can do to support you, or do you have anything coming up? I think you said you have a live show coming up. Do you have a date for it? Like, let's get this out there.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun talking to you. Anytime I can kiki. Bravo, we're Black. I love the name of the podcast. I love what it represents. It's a voice that's definitely needed in the space. Voices. We do have a live show. It is May 12th, but it's sold out. Our first live show ever, sold out in 2 days. Very grateful, hoping that means we'll do more. So you guys follow along for that. And just, follow me on social media at the Rachel Lindsay, so you can keep up on all the things that I'm doing. Hopefully more to come soon. And yeah, that's really it.
Perfect. So what y'all need to do though, put that live show on somewhere and we can pay for it and we can stream it live, obviously. So when y'all see that, we'll link that below too, or we'll put it in our stories. Everyone follow us at Bravo Wild Black. The podcast is Bravo We're Black, and give us 5 stars too. Rachel, thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching, and we will be back on Saturday. Love y'all. Bye.